My sister, female, 29, stole the spotlight at my birthday dinner with her pregnancy announcement, and now my family thinks I'm selfish for being upset. Throwaway because my sister checks my main account constantly and would figure out it's me if she saw this. So I, female, 34, was actually kind of excited about my birthday dinner last weekend, which is honestly not like me at all, because I'm definitely not someone who likes being the center of attention usually. I moved to a different city about 5 years ago for my marketing job, so I basically never get to see my whole family together anymore. I thought it would be nice to have everyone in one place for once. Plus, I just got promoted and wanted to celebrate something good for once. Some background, I guess. My younger sister Charlene, female, 29, has always been my parents' favorite. Like, it's not even subtle. Growing up, she got a brand new car at 16, while I had to work all through high school and college to afford my used Honda that broke down every other week. My parents never missed any of her dance recitals, but they skipped my college graduation because it was the same weekend as Charlene's dance competition. I mean, I get it. She was always the talented one while I was just there. Boring, reliable Vivian. The one who always had good grades but wasn't special. Enough to get the same attention. I know how this probably sounds like I'm exaggerating or playing victim or whatever, but ask literally anyone who knows our family dynamics and they'll confirm this. My best friend Julie has witnessed my mom ignore me for an entire dinner while hanging on Charlene's every word, so I'm not making this up, I swear. Anyway, I've tried really hard to maintain a decent relationship with everyone despite all that. I call my parents, Bob, male, 62, and Darlene, female, 60, every week, visit for Christmas and Thanksgiving, all that stuff. Charlene and her husband Arthur, male, 32, got married 3 years ago after dating since college, and Arthur's actually a really nice guy. He's always been super kind to me and actually asks about my life and stuff, which is refreshing. So, for my 34th birthday, I know, not even a milestone or anything, lol, I decided I wanted to do something nice. Work has been crazy with all this restructuring going on. I actually just got promoted last month, which I was kind of proud of, and I just wanted one nice evening with my family. I spent weeks coordinating everyone's schedules, which was a nightmare because my parents are so busy with their retirement activities, and Charlene always has some reason why X date doesn't work for her. Side note, she's a receptionist at a dentist's office and constantly acts like she has a packed schedule, but that's a whole other issue. I finally got everyone to agree on last Saturday. I made reservations at this really nice restaurant downtown that required a $200 deposit just to hold the table, which I paid. I invited my parents, Charlene and Arthur, and 2 of my close friends, including Julie, female, 34, who's known my family for years and has seen firsthand how they treat me versus my sister. I hardly ever splurge on myself. Maybe that's a whole other issue, lol. But I decided this was worth it. I bought a new dress, 120, got my hair done, 85, and was just excited. For once. I even told my therapist how proud I was for investing in my own happiness, or whatever. Stupid, I know. Oh, and I should mention that my company had been going through this massive restructuring thing, and I was worried about my job for months, so getting the promotion felt like a huge relief and something worth celebrating, you know. So the night of the dinner comes, and I end up paying for everything. The whole bill was like $800, because I told everyone to order whatever they wanted, drinks included. I didn't mind because I wanted everyone to have a good time and not worry about money. My parents are on a fixed income, and Charlene and Arthur are saving for a house. Plus, I can admit I sometimes use money to try to get my family to pay attention to me, which is probably not healthy, but whatever. Here's where it all went bad. We're having a good time. The food is amazing, and I stand up to give a little toast. Nothing fancy, just thanking everyone for coming. I had barely started when Charlene suddenly jumps up and says she has an announcement to make. Everyone looks at her, and she puts her hand on her stomach and tells us she's 8 weeks pregnant. My parents immediately started crying. My mom kept saying she was going to be a grandmother over and over. My dad hugged Arthur really hard. Everyone completely forgot I was in the middle of a toast for my birthday dinner that I was paying for. Arthur looked happy, but also kind of surprised about the timing. He whispered something to Charlene that I couldn't hear, and she just brushed him off. Meanwhile, Julie is looking at me across the table with this holy shit expression because she knows exactly what's happening. I'm just standing there with my champagne glass still raised, trying to smile and look supportive while feeling completely invisible. Again. Then, Charlene pulls out ultrasound pictures from her purse that she obviously brought specifically to show everyone at my birthday dinner. My parents and Arthur crowd around her to look at them, completely forgetting about me. The waiter brings out the birthday cake I pre-ordered and paid for, $65, and nobody even notices. No happy birthday song, no candles, nothing. Everyone is still gathered around Charlene's ultrasound pictures, talking about baby names and nursery themes. I think my mom even said this was the happiest day of her life, while my birthday cake was sitting there untouched. The waiter seemed to understand what was happening and quietly offered me a free dessert to take home. I almost started crying right there, because at least someone acknowledged it was still my birthday. God, that sounds so pathetic typing it out. I know this sounds petty. I know a baby is a big deal. I am happy for my sister. I really am. But couldn't she have waited one day? Just one day that was supposed to be about me for once. Like, she literally had to hijack the exact moment I was giving a toast. The next day, my parents called and talked for 30 minutes straight about how exciting Charlene's news was, what they're going to buy for the baby, how they can't wait to be grandparents, etc. They mentioned my birthday as an afterthought, like, oh, and it was nice to see you too for your thing. When I very gently pointed out that I was a little hurt that Charlene chose my birthday dinner to make her announcement, my mom got all defensive and said I was being selfish. She said a new life is more important than another birthday, and that I'd understand if I ever have children of my own, which is another little dig they like to throw in because I'm 34 and single. So now I'm the bad guy for feeling upset. Again. And the worst part is, I'm starting to wonder if maybe they're right. Maybe I am being petty and selfish. It's just a birthday, right? But at the same time, this isn't the first time Charlene has stolen my spotlight. It's like a pattern at this point. I've been sitting here, staring at my phone all day, debating whether to text Charlene about how I feel or just let it go, like I always do. Julie says I should stand up for myself for once, but she doesn't understand how my family works. If I say anything, I'm the bad guy. Always. God, this is probably coming across as so whiny and pathetic. There are people with actual problems in the world, and I'm upset about a birthday dinner. Whatever. I'm just tired of always being second place in my own family. Maybe there's something wrong with me for caring so much about a stupid birthday dinner. I mean, am I just being dramatic? I honestly can't tell anymore if my feelings are valid or if I'm just being a jealous, bitter older sister who can't handle not being the center of attention for once. I'm supposed to be the mature one, right? Maybe I should just congratulate her again and pretend everything is fine like always. That's what I'm good at. Vivian the pushover, reporting for duty. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up overnight. To answer some common questions. 1. Yes, I've talked to Charlene about this pattern before, but she always gets defensive and says I'm jealous of her, which maybe there's some truth to that. I don't know. No, Arthur didn't know she was going to announce it at my birthday. He texted me the next day to apologize and said he thought they were going to wait until the 12-week mark. That makes me think the whole thing was even more calculated on Charlene's part. 3. For those asking why I keep trying with my family, it's complicated. They're not monsters, just oblivious sometimes. And despite everything, they're still my family. 4. To the people saying I should cut them off, it's not that simple. I wish it was. Maybe I'm a doormat, but the thought of not having a family at all is worse than having a family that overlooks me. At least that's what I tell myself. Number 5. A lot of you are saying this is a marinara flag, lol, about how my family will treat me forever and I should just accept it or leave. You're probably right, but I don't know what to do with that right now. Edit 3. Okay, some of you are way too obsessed with the restaurant bill, lol. Yes, I could afford it because of my promotion. And no, I don't regret paying for everyone. It was my choice. What I'm upset about is what happened during the dinner, not the cost of it. Now for the first update. Wow. Thank you everyone for the supportive comments on my last post. So, it's been about 2 weeks since the birthday dinner disaster, and Charlene called me out of the blue, asking to meet for coffee to discuss something important. For a split second, my dumb brain actually thought maybe she was going to apologize for taking over my birthday. Ha ha ha, I know, I never learn. She made it sound super urgent and said it absolutely couldn't wait. So I ended up having to reschedule this important meeting with my boss about some new marketing strategies for next quarter. Like, I literally had to move work stuff around for her because she insisted it had to be Tuesday at 2 p.m. Of course, she picked this ridiculously overpriced cafe near her dental office. It's one of those places that charges $7 for a basic coffee but puts a fancy leaf design in the foam so they can justify it. And Charlene always picks expensive places despite constantly complaining about money problems. It's so frustrating. So I get there right on time because, unlike some people, I respect other people's schedules, and Charlene shows up 20 minutes late. No apology, nothing. Just breezes in like it's totally normal to make someone wait that long. And she immediately launches into this whole thing about her baby shower plans without even asking how I'm doing or what's going on with my life. I mean, I literally just got a promotion, but apparently that's not worth 2 seconds of conversation. She pulls out her phone and starts showing me these elaborate Pinterest boards she's created. We're talking custom decorations, fancy catering, some photographer who specializes in event photography. And get this, she wants to have it at the botanical garden where they charge like $1,500 just for the space rental. I'm sitting there trying to be supportive and making appropriate, "Oh, that's nice" noises while she scrolls through literally 50 plus pins of baby shower stuff. I think I must have zoned out for a minute because suddenly she's looking at me expectantly and I realize she asked me something. So I'm like, "Sorry, what?" And she goes, "So can you do it?" "Do what?" I asked. She looks at me like I'm an idiot and tells me that I should pay for the baby shower. She said it would be around $3,000 total and claimed that would barely make a dent in my savings. I literally almost spit out my overpriced coffee. $3,000 for a baby shower, and she just expected me to pay for the whole thing. Like it was already decided. When I asked her why she thought I would pay for her entire baby shower, she told me I have a good job with no children or husband to support, so I should be happy to do this for my only sister's first baby. She actually said I'm 34, too old to be celebrating birthdays anyway, and that this is about a new life. I was just sitting there stunned. Like, what do you even say to that? I tried to explain that I work really hard for my money and have my own financial goals, like maybe buying a house someday. And she rolled her eyes and told me it's not like I have anyone to save for anyway, and that I'll probably die alone with all my money. Yes, she actually said that to my face. I offered to contribute like $300 to $500, which I thought was pretty generous, but she acted like I just offered her pocket change. Her face literally darkened, and she said that was insulting and not even enough for the photographer. Then she had the nerve to bring up that I made a scene at my birthday dinner, which I absolutely did not. I literally just stood there while everyone ignored me, and every time I tried to defend myself, she would just talk over me. She mentioned Arthur is working nights and weekends for extra money, but they're still struggling financially. He looked so tired at my birthday dinner, and now he's working even more. I feel bad for him, honestly. Something weird I noticed during our whole conversation. Charlene kept checking her phone nervously and hiding the screen from me. Like she'd get a text and immediately flip the phone over or angle it away. At one point, she got a call and practically ran outside to take it. Oh, and while telling me how broke they are, she ordered the most expensive sandwich on the menu, $18, and some fancy specialty drink with like 3 extra add-ins, then complained about money in the same breath. Some things never change, I guess. But here's where things get concerning. And this is the part I'm really struggling with. During our conversation, Charlene mentioned being 10 weeks pregnant. But at my birthday dinner, Arthur had mentioned he just got back from a 3-week business trip that ended right before my party. I remember because he was apologizing for looking tired and said the trip had been exhausting. So I did the math in my head. And if Charlene is 10 weeks pregnant and Arthur was away during weeks 6 to 9 of her pregnancy, that means he was away during what would have been the conception period. I tried to brush it off, but then last weekend I ran into my mom's friend Susan at the grocery store. She casually mentioned seeing Charlene with that handsome coworker of hers several times while Arthur was away. Apparently they were at this restaurant that's known for being kind of romantic and intimate, and Susan said they looked very comfortable together. I know I shouldn't have done this, but I got curious and checked social media. There's this guy Eddie, male, 31, who works at the same dental office as Charlene. And sure enough, he had posted several photos during the exact time Arthur was away. Photos of him and Charlene at restaurants, a concert, even one where he has his arm around her waist in this way that definitely doesn't seem just friendly, like they're standing really close and his hand is kind of on her hip and she's leaning into him. It made me feel gross just looking at it. Then this past Sunday, we were all at my parents' house for dinner, and I went to use the bathroom. As I was walking back, I overheard Charlene on the phone in the guest bedroom. She was speaking in this urgent whisper, and I clearly heard her say, "He can never know, and we'll figure it out." When she noticed me walking past, she quickly hung up and looked really flustered. I'm so torn about what to do. Arthur is genuinely one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He always asks about my job and remembers details about my life. When I moved apartments last year, he helped me move furniture when Charlene was too busy to help. And now he's working himself to exhaustion, presumably to save for a baby that might not even be his. I feel sick thinking about it. After the coffee disaster, Charlene has been texting me daily about the baby shower money. She's also gotten our parents involved. They called me yesterday saying I should support my sister during this special time and that I should be more generous since I don't have family expenses. When I tried to explain that $3,000 is excessive for a baby shower, my mom accused me of being jealous of Charlene's pregnancy and happiness. At this point, I don't even know what to do. I feel like I'm going crazy. Should I say something to Arthur? Should I confront Charlene about what I've seen and heard? Should I just mind my own business and pretend everything is fine? The thought of Arthur raising another man's child without knowing makes me feel physically ill. But what if I'm wrong? What if there's some explanation I'm missing? God, this is such a mess. I hate that I'm even in this position. Edit. Since so many people are asking, no, Charlene and I have never been particularly close. She's always been the golden child, and I've always been, well, not. As many of you pointed out in my last post, there's definitely a pattern of her getting all the attention and me being expected to just deal with it. Edit 2. To answer the question about how Arthur could be the father, yes, obviously they could have conceived before his trip. But Charlene specifically told me at coffee that she's exactly 10 weeks along, which would put conception right in the middle of his business trip. Maybe she's just bad at math. I'm hoping that's all it is. Now for the second update. So I guess a lot has happened since my last post about 3 weeks ago. For those who don't remember my previous posts, basically my sister Charlene announced her pregnancy at my birthday dinner that I paid for, completely hijacking the night. Then she demanded I pay $3,000 for her baby shower, and I discovered some sketchy stuff that made me think the baby might not actually be her husband Arthur's. After I posted last time, I spent like a whole week just feeling sick about the whole situation. I kept going back and forth about what to do. One minute I'd be like, it's none of my business, just stay out of it. And the next, I'd be thinking about poor Arthur working double shifts to provide for a baby that might not even be his. And I couldn't stop thinking about those photos of Charlene with Eddie, her coworker, looking way too cozy while Arthur was away on his business trip. I know a lot of you told me to get concrete evidence before saying anything, but honestly, what was I supposed to do? Hire a private detective? Follow them around with a camera? This isn't some TV drama, lol. But I did find more stuff that made me even more suspicious. I was helping my mom set up her new phone because, of course, she called me for tech support even though Charlene lives 10 minutes away from them. And I saw some group texts where Eddie was asking my mom if Charlene was feeling better after her morning sickness episode at work. This was from the exact week Arthur was away on his business trip. Why would Eddie be the one texting my mom about Charlene's morning sickness unless they were spending a lot of time together? Anyway, after agonizing over it for days, and to be honest, after reading all your comments on my last post, I decided I needed to talk to Charlene first before going to Arthur. I figured I'd give her a chance to come clean herself. Maybe there was some explanation I wasn't seeing. Lol, past Vivian was so naive. So I texted Charlene asking if we could talk privately. She suggested I come over to their house on Thursday night when Arthur would be working late. He's been picking up all these extra shifts to save for the baby which makes this whole thing even worse. Last summer, Arthur redid their entire kitchen while Charlene complained non-stop about the dust. She literally went to stay with our parents for 2 weeks because the construction mess was too stressful, while Arthur slept on their couch and worked on the kitchen after his regular job. Like, who does that? When I arrived, I saw pregnancy books and baby clothes packages. I noticed Arthur had left a sweet note reminding Charlene to take her prenatal vitamins with a little heart drawn next to it. That's when I knew I had to say something, because he deserves the truth. I tried to be gentle when talking to Charlene. As soon as I mentioned being bothered by something about her pregnancy, she got defensive before I even explained. When I brought up the Instagram photos with Eddie during Arthur's business trip, she claimed they were just friends from work. When I mentioned the timeline didn't make sense with Arthur's trip, her face went pale. She kept insisting nothing happened until I brought up overhearing her phone conversation about how he can never know. That's when she started crying and admitted to having an affair with Eddie, but claimed it was over. She begged me not to tell Arthur, saying it would destroy their family. She said the baby was probably Arthur's, but admitted she hadn't done any testing. The worst part was when she suddenly stopped crying, looked at me, and said if I paid for her baby shower like she asked, she would consider getting a paternity test later. She was literally trying to blackmail me. I told her she had 1 week to tell Arthur herself, or I would. She accused me of being jealous of her happy family and trying to ruin her life. The whole next week was awful. Charlene sent manipulative texts begging me not to destroy her marriage, threatening that our family would never speak to me again, and guilt-tripping me about hurting her while she was pregnant. I wasn't trying to cause trouble. I just kept thinking about Arthur. He's always been so kind to me, like when he helped me move apartments last year when Charlene was too busy. He's the only one who actually remembers to ask about my job at family gatherings. When the week passed and Charlene did nothing, she instead called our parents, claiming I was trying to ruin her pregnancy out of jealousy about being single and childless at my age. My parents called me furious. My dad said I needed to apologize and pay for the shower as penance for making up lies. My mom accused me of always trying to one-up Charlene. I asked Arthur to meet for coffee. I showed him the photos, explained the timeline issues, and shared what Charlene had admitted to me. He wasn't surprised. He'd already been suspicious about her behavior, the pregnancy timing, and weird text messages on her phone. Arthur confronted Charlene that night. She denied everything at first and blamed me, but then Arthur revealed he'd found messages between her and Eddie on their shared tablet. She admitted to the affair, but insisted the baby was still his. Arthur wanted a paternity test. 2 weeks later, the test showed Arthur is not the father. Charlene begged for forgiveness, claiming it was a one-time mistake. Arthur revealed he'd found months of messages proving it was an ongoing affair. He told her he was filing for divorce and moved out. My family immediately blamed me. My parents called screaming that I had ruined Charlene's life over a petty birthday party jealousy. My mom said I must be happy now that I'd torn apart my sister's family. The only bright spot is that Arthur thanked me for telling him the truth. He said it saved him from years of living a lie and raising another man's child. It's been about 3 months since everything blew up. Charlene moved in with Eddie, but he isn't excited about being a dad. According to my mom, Eddie keeps avoiding talks about the future and hasn't bought anything for the baby. My parents' attitude changed when Charlene asked them for money for her downgraded baby shower. Now they're asking if I think Charlene and Eddie are having relationship problems because Eddie doesn't seem very invested in the baby. I've been keeping my distance from my family lately. I declined their invitation to Charlene's smaller baby shower. I've been hanging out with Arthur occasionally as friends. He's rebuilding his life and recently started dating someone new. In some ways, I feel like justice was served, but I also feel sad about the family fractures. My parents have started to recognize Charlene's manipulation and tentatively apologize to me, but family gatherings are still awkward. Charlene and Eddie's relationship seems unstable. He missed her last 2 doctor appointments and barely helped with the baby shower. Part of me feels bad for her, but another part thinks maybe she's finally facing consequences for once. I'm planning a solo trip to Europe for my next birthday. After all this drama, I want to do something just for me. I'm still processing everything, but I think I did the right thing.